Hello, it's me again, and we're playing Growing My Grandpa. But before we start, look who it is. Who's that little gremlin on the screen? It's me. I finally got the face cam and the ring light. So this time you'll be seeing my face cam somewhere in the top left, I think. Not sure. But let's start. Would you like to view the tutorial regarding basic game mechanics? Sure, why not? Please read. This game is designed to be played with a mouse. The input required. Okay, so it's just telling me I have to play with a mouse. Featuring a hand extended all fingers. The mode concerns interacting with objects. Pick up the piece of trash on the right and place it in the trash can. Okay. The second cursor mode. Well, how do I? Oh, hey. Well, that's pretty cool. That's it. There'll be many situations in Growing My Grandpa that will require you to pick up things to place. Pick up things, place things, grab things, or give things. Don't be afraid to experiment and keep an open mind about using your hand. Okay? I've never been asked that before. Mind using your hand, please. You have to know how to use your hand. In order to expedite the cleaning process, you can use digits 1, 2, and 3 on your keyboard's number row at the top of the keyboard to reposition the trash can below. Oh. Well done. Please click the. Oh. I guess it asked me to do that. Okay, I didn't read that part. A variety of video options can be changed at any time during the use functions key. I already knew that because that's how I set up this stuff. By the default, growing my grandpa's display is scaled up by a factor of 2 and shader is set at low. Configuration options overlay? Oh, yes, that's it. Thanks. Thus ends the tutorial. I hope you enjoy growing my grandpa. Infinite thanks to my patrons and supporters for believing in me and my work. Games. I'll leave this game in the description for you guys, so you guys can play it. And by the way, I know Markiplier played this. I did not copy Markiplier. I just saw the game, decided to play it. And then I'll play the other game that's related to this guy. Just so you guys don't beat me up about it. I excused Adrienne, during music class today and spoke with her about her recent string of demerits. It was our first time meeting outside of our quarterly evaluations, and I believe it went well. I can certainly understand Mrs. Richardson's classroom observations concerning Adrian, Drine, Adrine, emotional state. She was, of course, intensely shy when we first met. I understand it. She is similarly withdrawn in her classroom activities and only speaks or acts when she is absolutely must. Some things she simply will not do. Instead of participating in mandatory group activities, she will sit alone and accept that she will receive a demerit. This is me. I hate working in group projects because I hate working with people. I want to do it my way and not take other people's opinions or do it their way because it pisses me off. Before the meeting, I read Mr. Richardson's parent-teacher report, which allowed me to estimate some about. I don't know. Is that Adrian? I don't know how to fucking pronounce that name. Home life. The parents are well educated and come from a prestigious background, but they lack time to properly nurture Adrian. Okay, so she's neglected. She is often alone, and she is not the parents. When she is not, the parents seem to not understand the importance of warmth and affirmation when dealing with someone so young. Having two parents of this reserved and icy temperament exacts an inhib- sorry, inhibition inhibition in a child. The child imagination is subdued, but only ostensibly, where it eventually finds its way into regular life. I surmised that I would be able to reach out to Adrian about way of make believe. Ew, is that the kid? That looks disgusting. Why is her eyes closed? Okay, how are you liking your new house? You told me you used to live close by, but but it still can be a big adjustment. A new room, a new school. The the basement, I like it. The basement? Who likes the basement? That's so weird. Yeah, but there's a lot of cool stuff. Mom and Dad sent me down there. What the fuck? What? Your mom and dad made you go? That's child abuse. You can't make your child do that. Yeah, but there's a lot of cool stuff. Well, that's not why they sent me down there, though. What? Why did they send you down there? Fighting. They were fighting. Shouting. I came in to help and they shouted at me. They said, go clean up downstairs. So I went. That sounds tough. Do they fight a lot? No. Well, it's alright, Adrian. Maybe you can tell me more about the basement instead. Why? Okay, well, it was weird at first, but the stuff down there, I mean, but cool. I found something living, sort of. That's, that's very interesting, Adrian. Tell me more about it. If you find something living in your basement, you probably shouldn't be down in the basement. Probably not a good idea. By indulging her in her fantasies and stories, I was able to glean more of an understanding of Adrian's anxiety surrounding her home and parents. The symbols of Adrian's stories seem to carry their own dramatic weight, and her exploration of the basement may very well be a vehicle for the conveyance of her anxiety. Okay? Whether it might come of our next meeting, whether she will engage similar make believe, I will set down her story here. Adrian's story begins with her delving into the basement with a trash receptacle and the goal of cleaning up. She discovered one of the walls was covered in plastic bags. She went to investigate, intent on tearing away whatever they covered. Trash bags. Ooh, okay. Upon removing the plastic trash bags from the wall, she noticed her interior lining was covered in glass. What? Like a window, I offered. No, she said like a mirror, reflecting inward towards the animal they covered. What? Animal? I gently asked her what exactly this animal was. Here is where the material reality of the story took a turn for the explicitly fantastic and imaginary. Ew. Upon her discovery, ooh, upon her discovery of it, at her gaze, it grew or extended. Its shaggy haired self, hair like the fur of a dog. I offered. No, she said. What? Not the fur of a dog nor the hair on her head. Then what is it? It grew out towards her, the animal's hair reaching out. It was hard, standing almost straight, like the hair on a brush, a bristle. A bristle, I offered. Yes, she said. She was very afraid at first, but then very curious. I asked her what else was in the room. More things hidden away, she said. Things of Grandpa's as well. What? First, she found a hidden passage under the stairs. Inside were strange dolls, magic objects, naked faces, figures. Ooh, naked. I love naked models. I heard these cryptic utterances and merely nodded in order to keep the game of make believe going. I only pressed for details where I thought necessary. The faceless dolls could be a simple metaphor for the nominee she feels in her own home. The hidden passage, I am unsure of what to make of that. How do you know these are fantasies and not real? How do you know that? Because they could be real. You don't know that. It's a child. You're just thinking she's using her imagination. You don't know if she is. The, the revealing of this concealed seems to be thematic in her fantasy. The door under the stairs is but one example. Ew. There's like a face in there. You can see it, little dots. Look. One, two, three. There's three dots. Question mark. Ooh. Okay. Trash pile. Let's go digging in the trash. Okay, nothing there. Question mark. Ooh. Oh, there's stuff there. Once she removed the panel and found the magical hidden passage, she was very specific about what she took. She found a magic book, a magic doll, a photo of her late grandpa, and magic glue. Magic glue. Is it like the take doll, search closet? Ooh, what's this? Eurasian steppe shamanism and fusiform gyrus. An interdisciplinary study in sympathetic magic. A dissertation in what? Whoa, hold on. A dissertation. Jacob Harper. Are those some of those even real words? Papers crudely bound together in the form of a book. Continue. Read now. Let's read it. Did, what? What? The impetus of this research was the recognition of a particular pattern in fragments of documents relating to magic and magico religious practices. Numerous sources were drawn from commentaries on laws relating to banning of sorcery and necromancy, compilations of folk charms relating to love spells, hagiographs of saints and their encounters with devils. The list spans many centuries and a great distance, from the Levant to the Khazar Khaganate to the border of the modern nations of Russia and Kazakhstan today. From this paper trail, okay, that's not. It's just talking about the history stuff. Ooh, all-purpose glue. Okay. So when do I get to start growing my grandpa? I always wanted a grandpa to grow from a pot. Ooh. A photo of your late Mr. PhD. On the reverse side of the photograph, there is more text. Good luck on your trip to the Urals. Stay warm. It's an ugly looking. Why does the grandpa look like a creep? A slouching doll. Its material is rough and coarse. I interrupted to ask what she did with these magical, mysterious materials. Grow grandpa, she explained plainly, and then without missing a beat, she continued on with her story. Feeling this was a potent symbol, I stopped her again to ask what she meant. Somewhat puzzled, I did not understand immediately. She explained slowly. Grandpa lives in the cage the cage behind the door. They grew people in the cage. What? What? They grew people? So there's a cage with Grandpa in it, and Grandpa's growing in it. What? A hastily written note. Oh, wait. Ah, dang it. Is there a way to access my inventory? Dang it. I did not mean to do that. No. I was gonna read that. Dang it. Well, I don't know if there's a way to read it. A note on experiment 2-4. Let's read it. 4. Is that knocking coming from my game? I should probably have both of these on. 4. The sample's exposure to some of our neuronal activity is unavoidable. However, the speed at which is desirous yield is produced can be dampened by several precautions regarding libidinal and emotional urges. Keep conversation not related to lab work to a minimum. If you, be- if you begin to suspect that you are developing attachments to your colleagues, contact me as soon as possible. Why is having such a thing with your colleagues a bad thing? 1. For the sake of university policy and the health of any future career you hope to have, you will abide by the non-disclosure contract you have signed. Do not break the anthropoidic vacuum without my prior consultation and approval. Any anthropoidic forms brought into the enclosure area must not be left unattended. When not in dormancy, the sample will attempt to take anthropoid shells. Please see shell notes for more on that. Ritual behavior with the sample trading, bargaining will result in dismissal from the project. The precise mechanism of the exchange of symbols and gifts required for requested serious yield is not known, and even then the anecdotal accounts of success are illegible, end in violent death. That's not good if it ends in violent death. Regarding growth cycles, every time Whiskers regenerates and leaves dormancy, it is to be logged as a new propagation. The sample's bodily existence cannot be illegible, i.e., a part cannot be cut from the whole, so there can only be one living propagation. Propagations are to be terminated after 5 weeks. Why? What happens after 5 weeks? Any further development puts us at risk. Termination procedures will be posted and followed with extreme care. All of that out of the way, I want to welcome you to the project. I look forward to working with you, Dr. Hart. Okay? Enter. Beyond the door in the room, the cage was hidden, concealed in their cloak of inward-facing mirrors. A hidden cage lined with mirrors. It is strange, almost poetic. The elaborate fantasy of self-reflection, concealment, captivity. How is this doctor conceiving all this? Hello, Grandpa. It just went silent. At the cage, she finally cast her spell. But it was confusing, she confided at first. She took the magic doll, the magic glue, and the photo of her grandpa. She com- she combined them and wished very hard. I can only assume in this fantasy that next her wish would come true. And what child's story would not? Oh, jeez, this really is. Particular human representation, generic human figure. Grandpa. Doll. Glued together. A tangible symbol of intention and desire. She put Grandpa on the page, assuming that was part of the ritual. She was not clear on how it worked. What precise instructions she could glean from her grandfather's magic book was complicated by her reading comprehension. She wished up with all her heart, and then she told me she waited for a while for something, anything to happen. And after that time, she began to cry. I cried really hard, she said. I wanted Grandpa to be back. I wanted my parents to stop being so mean. And it hurt me. It hurt me wish for Grandpa to come back for my parents. To be different. I could feel it through the walls, and it felt me through the air. I asked her what exactly she meant. She could only repeat what she said. By this time, lunch was almost over. I said goodbye to Adrienne, and she left to rejoin her class. I was left to consider our conversation. I believe the storytelling strategy I have employed was not unfruitful, but must probe deeper if I can. Although I can be sure nothing to interpret, the impressions I get may begin to help me get an idea of the right questions to ask. Knowledge you acquire this week has given you access to certain topics, or keywords you can discuss with Grandpa. You have gained the conversation topic, wish. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. What? You have also gained the following keyword, shell. What? Discussing? Am I gonna talk to the thing? I'm gonna talk to Grandpa? I met again with Adrienne in order to address her emotional outburst. In the past few weeks, it is our second time meeting, and while it is a standard practice to have multiple sessions with a troubled student, as I assemble a report for the counseling department, I cannot help but think, as we sat down in my aunt's office, that Adrienne already seemed to show a remarkable change in self-esteem and confidence, and perhaps my and Mrs. Richardson's estimation of her as emotionally disturbed was erroneous. The paralyzing shyness and withdrawn attitude Adrienne possessed last week was not entirely diminished. I mean, but she seemed to hold herself differently this week. However, this only lasted as long as our conversation pertained to initial introductory pleasantries. When it began once again asking about her parents, her feelings regarding her new school and her new home, she quickly lost what new confidence she had gathered up and withdrew again into herself. So once again, I partook in some collaborative make believe, but this time I was aided by the fact that I had managed to do some research into Adrian's grandfather. And I had some insight into what she might actually be finding in the basement. Now, this may be overstepping my bounds, some as a school counseling care worker, but this is all in the service of making Adrian comfortable and happy in this learning environment. In any case, I was able to dig up information regarding the grandfather by inquiring at the university in town. Not that I make it a habit of sleuthing, but I had a suspicion the grandfather was a professor there, or at least some sort of researcher, due to the fact that the newly constructed laboratory on the campus I drive by every day bears his name and memorial. He was some sort of anthropologist. Anthropologist. Wait, anthropologist, I was right. Or linguist. Or neuroscientist. I did not have to dig that deep before the scope of his work became dizzying, and I ran up against the limits of my undergraduate education. But back to the make believe. What's your grandpa like? Is he a smart man? Not anymore. I'm teaching him. What? So he's grown a good deal then. You have been feeding him well? Yeah, he's getting bigger, but he has a lot of room in his cage. He's still behind the bars? Yeah, well, he might be able to climb out eventually. There's this vent in the ceiling. Or perhaps if he climbs out, I can meet him someday. Yeah, maybe, but he's not ready to leave. He can't take care of himself. I have to feed him. Pick up after him. Ah, you store the food in your lunchbox. That's nice of you to share. He can almost talk. You cannot speak with him? He doesn't. He doesn't have a mouth. Sort of. But how do you feed him? He has a mouth on the outside, on his shell. Or the stuff that is his skin. I'm a little confused. Maybe you can go through a typical day with your grandpa. Okay. I asked her to explain how exactly she goes through, how she goes about growing her grandpa. And Adrian began another tale. According to Adrian, in the week that had passed, much had changed in the basement. Ooh, yeah, you're right. A bunch of stuff changed. Like this. What is this? Examine. The hairy thing that was here before is gone. You should go see Grandpa first. I don't want to see him. I'm so scared. I don't know what. Wake Grandpa. It was scary at first, he said. The way he moved, the way the dull skins covered him. I wanted to interject. This somehow seemed inappropriate, but I kept listening. When I look at him, she continued. When I think about him, he grows and moves. It's like he is growing for me. Ew. So he's growing bigger now, I asked. Yes, she said. Bigger every day. This, that's Grandpa. This begins the actual growing part of growing your grandpa. Beneath the doll's burlap skin, the follicles knit together what resembles a proper person, your grandpa. You are in charge of this cognitive development and diet until it is able to sustain itself. Currently, you're observing Grandpa. Click the arrow back button below for a brief tutorial of your duties as a caretaker. Taking care of this old sack? Your lunchbox is scared. Seek out food. Hi, Grandpa. Here we can see a variety of options regarding growing your grandpa. This is weird. I don't like this. I don't like how to grow my grandpa. This is freaky. I don't like that. Our objectives related to feeding and teaching Grandpa. Important messages regarding Grandpa's recent activity will also appear here. Okay. You would need to find. It doesn't even call him. It calls it it. You will need to find it food and learning material before you can move on to the next week. Some foods will make Grandpa happy, others merely content. Some food will make Grandpa disgusted to the point of nausea. Learning materials also scattered throughout the basement. Seek out vocabulary cards intended to help teach English and basic anthropoetic concept formation. Options highlighted in red are related to navigating around Grandpa's enclosures. The Go to Grandpa option will let you perform all actions directly related to Grandpa, feeding, teaching, observing, etc. Over any documents you pick up as the weeks go by, it's a good idea to learn about the work of people who last occupied this space. Accessing the kitchen corner will let you search for food in the old refrigerator and prepare food for Grandpa if need be. To help up, okay, so we'll save your current game and we'll exit to the main menu. Before more buttons may or not appear depending on your development of Grandpa, so watch out for them. One final note: take care to explore the basement at your leisure. However, due to the entropic nature of clutter and trash, different weeks may allow you to find things you had not previously discovered. Good luck. Thanks. Oh, so I have to find food. To the kitchen. I'll take that, please. Brown banana looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Brown banana. What is this? Lettuce. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Prepare food. Soft fruit or vegetable? Banana. Unappealing item? None. Okay. Okay, so I found food. Look over documents. Magic book. Okay, these are all the stuff I have. Educational posters. Ugh, burped. Search file cabinet 1. Okay, this is weird. I don't like this. Just the fact that I'm growing my grandpa is already weird and not okay. Ooh, what's this? Cashews. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. All clean. Ooh. It was said to pass from one family of steppe people to another, but pressed on its ultimate origin. Ineligible. Somewhere to the south, coiled in a bowl covered in incantations, buried upside down by a graveyard. A common late antiquity demon trap. How is she able to read all this? The keeper, an elderly man in failing health, was ready to expound on and on about the dangers of the organism, but when I asked more pointed questions about the history of acquisition, I was given curt responses that had a way of circling back to vague warnings. Okay, a bowl full of incantations that already sounds not good. Ugh, demon bowl. What am I? What have I gotten myself into? I'm just a little girl. Little girls should not be messing with demons. Oh, something. Anything else? Nope. What's this? Linguistics module, Grandpa. Teach Grandpa this word to read the notes for past educators. Oh, a word card. Cleaning. Cleaning, clean. Ooh, what is that? Okay. So I had to take care of my grandpa, grown from a doll. Ooh. Secret panel? All clean. You're made to tape down fabric to reveal the cabin's wooden bottom. Ooh. Secrets. To my colleagues, I don't mean to be overly severe in tone, but Dr. Hart's work is very important and the material we are working with is potentially very dangerous. I will be handing out a copy of this note as a reminder to everyone. I'm not trying to single any particular person out. All we have is misconceptions about the nature of this project from time to time. With that out of the way, here are some things to keep in mind. 1. The activity growth must be thoroughly terminated via the correct procedures at the very least 4 weeks after dormancy is interrupted. It doesn't matter what we've done or haven't done regarding tests or procedures or how much the anthropoidic vacuum has been disrupted. We are not ready to go beyond 4 weeks at this point. A step-by-step guide to termination has been posted by the enclosure wall. Please, please, please do not place the education posters over this posting. 2. Do not disrupt the anthropoidic vacuum without Dr. Hart's prior consultation and approval. In case of any emergency where the vacuum is disrupted, put on your equipment and begin the lockdown procedure. Make an extensive note of when and how the breach occurred. If you find the habit empty, page Dr. Hart immediately, but do not attempt to speak with anyone else. This thing can get very smart. I'm sure you're all well aware from the stories we heard on our acquisition trip. The greatest caution should be used when dealing with a potential aggressive mimicry scenario. Please seek me out if you have any more questions. William. You have gained conversation topic. Biohazard bin. You examine this in detail later in the study corner. No, read. Research participants, please take note. Each growth from a cycle does not acquire a shell, but you may find the sample will often tries and sees on something somewhat flexible it can grow into. Along with any desired yield it may generate, or else it will move from one shell to the next as it outgrows them. In the small amount of time I have spent with in preparation, I have noticed it tends towards human forms. However, we should keep a tight lid on the anthropoid sealed in order to be cautious before beginning the experiment with exposing it long-term to anthropoid stimuli, Dr. Hart. So they were experimenting on this little guy. Wait, what did I say? Medical imaging device. What is this? Power. And it doesn't work. I don't have anything for it. Go to Grandpa. Go to him. Observe. You examine Grandpa, noting its movements, respiration, and general mood. Grandpa seems sort of sluggish and bored. You get the feeling it may be more content and readily cooperative once fed and taught a word or two. Attempt to communicate. No response. Teach Grandpa. Let's teach him. Grandpa. Would you like to view the tutorial before you start? You will not be prompted again. Example, this brief tutorial will go over teaching Grandpa pronunciation and vocalization. The vocabulary word you picked will appear in the top left corner, and the bottom right corner will be pentagon that is divided up into 8 segments. A section of the pentagon will be highlighted briefly. A notification sound will play, and soon another section will be highlighted. You will control a small round icon that sits above the pentagon by using your mouse. The ball is constrained to the limits of the pentagon. The goal is to keep your icon over the highlighted area and move as the area changes sections around the pentagon. When you hold left click above the correct highlighted area, the icon will start to vibrate along with the stimulated vocal cords, and the current letter of your word will begin to turn red. Keep holding over the highlighted section and adjust your icon as it changes places. Soon the letter will become fully red. After every letter becomes red, Grandpa will proudly pronounce the word to you and will be considered learned. Teaching Grandpa these words will accelerate its cognitive development and lead to further breakthroughs in general intelligence. Teach word to Grandpa. You approach the small window. That is not Grandpa. Grandpa. It's time for you to learn, Grandpa. Deep within Grandpa's strange membranes pollinate. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the back of the vocabulary module card and the notes that are written by administrators of the past. Grandpa, part of vocabulary and vocalization module E81 family. General pronunciation comments, usual trouble with articulation, voice thin/raspy, possibly underdeveloped larynx. Module comments, see below. What the fuck am I doing with this thing? Teaching up words. We have done several sessions of what we are calling familial relation stimulation. I and the co-researchers sit in chairs opposite the enclosure. We are wearing the usual masks, and we begin to act out a scene, mostly through improvisation that might roughly resemble a kitchen table conversation between an immediate family. Repeated trials will reveal although our simulated conversation was purposely vague and unspecific regarding persons and identities. We only address each other as brother, father, sister, etc., etc. It soon became apparent the encoded information and associations we unconsciously drawn upon when hearing and speaking these words was being picked up on by Whiskers and its psi-type field of reception slash interpretation of brain slash minds events slash semantic content. My co-researcher William noticed this as a simulation where Whiskers was given a role as a sister and he as a brother. I was the father. Whiskers began responding to certain prompts with unusual specificity as well as a general pattern and timbre of speech that continued with unusual consistency. As soon as the simulation ended and we left the enclosure area, William let me know that Whiskers was almost certainly drawing from encoded memories of his late sister. Mapping out exactly what regions and centers of neuroactivity are intercepted by the psi-type field will take extensive neural imaging that we do not have at the site. Currently, we only have less precise portable equipment. However, our experiences so far are eerily in line with folk knowledge and folk explanations regarding the being's access to desires, and we can begin to infer it has access to certain portions of the limbic system and the ventral temporal cortex. You step away from the bars and store the module card in the document table. Okay, this is weird. Ooh, back off, Grandpa. Get the fuck away from me, you little freak. Would you like to view the tutorial? Yes. Brief feeding Grandpa via induction of your unprotected insult. Grandpa has simulated the production of tooth enamel to mimic a human mouth. It will need to be fed through this in order to properly learn and grow. First, you will need to select the item from the lunchbox. Click on the lunchbox in the bottom right corner. Nice food, bad food. Yay. Okay, the contents of the lunch will be displayed. Select an item from the lunchbox. Doing so will fill your hand with this item. Note that any food can be put back into the lunchbox by clicking the lunchbox with a full hand. Before Grandpa can be fed, it must judge the food by smell. Hover your hand above Grandpa's olfactory bulbs. If Grandpa is pleased, it will allow you to feed it. Most foods Grandpa will accept, however, getting Grandpa to consume other things requires some culinary deception. When Grandpa is willing to be fed, hover your hand over its mouth and click. Grandpa will then consume the food. Good luck on feeding Grandpa. What? What? There's no way that's Grandpa. Click on Grandpa's nose left of its mouth. But we'll accept this as a meal. This is gross. Grandpa isn't smelling. Hey. Let's give him a banana. But we'll accept this as a meal. The meal appears to be insufficient. Okay, Grandpa, I don't want to be here anymore. You step away from the bonus. Grandpa grunts in appreciation and locomotes towards his favorite corner. Two digestible food? Other. Okay, I have to go find him another card. Oh. I didn't know I can do this. Hmm. I'm gonna take that for now and not read it. I have to find him. Let's see. Got my card. Save. Let's find him a card. Search trash. Search. Radio. Okay. Search trash pile. I need a card. I need to teach my grandpa. Grandpa. Fiberglass insulation. This isn't really food. Grandpa might eat it, however. I'm not feeding him insulation. Stupid girl. Okay. Cabinet. Examine. Cabinet. Search. Go, 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 go. Speed run, speed run. God, I gotta teach him, I gotta teach him. He's too stupid. Ew, what are those? Ew, what is that? I gotta teach my grandpa. He doesn't even know the words of grandpa yet. Blueberries. Why is it? How is there blueberries in the cabinet, in the basement? Ooh, what is that? You see that? It's like a heart. It looks like a heart. Okay. Oh. I'm gonna take that. Probably read these in the next episode. Ooh. Okay. Safe. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh. Little paper doll. Hmm. Can't believe I had to teach my grandpa. Simple paper doll. This might be useful in the construction of magic symbols. What? I have to also make magic symbols. Unnerves you. You cannot explore here without some of. Okay. Bulbous growth. Something appears growing from the wall. You take a closer look. Pulsing sac. Ew. The slimy membrane that is its skin seems to be containing something. It might be able to open with a blade. That is disgusting. Oh, card. Hmm. Corroded battery. I'm not feeding that to grandpa. Yes! Card. Okay, that's still not there. Let's go teach grandpa. Go to him. Ugh. Ugh. Look at him. I don't like the things that come out of him either. Makes me feel weird. Grandpa. Come on. Oh my god. Oh, why is this so hard all of a sudden? Teaching the word! Teach that bastard hello! Come on. I will teach you this word if it's the last thing I do, Grandpa. You slimy little bitch! Stop it! Stay on the triangle. I will not blink until I get this. Yes! Oh, my eyes. Ew. That's not how you say hello. You're supposed to say hello. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the back of the vocabulary module and take the notes read by many mysteries of the past. Okay, let's just talk about hello. We are already encountering some difficulties as Whistler's subjectivity subjectivity is so much determined by a diverse and dynamic array of influences. It attempts to mimic the thoughts and desires it passively intercepts, and these imitations go on to structure the basis of its identity. Only later in Whisker's growth cycle does it begin to form an identity, or identities, that are coherent and capable of resembling a sane, rational human being when engaged in conversation. One must imagine how hard it would be to converse with someone who is not yet orientated in one particular way towards who or how they are, because they might have 20 different honest answers to those questions, all of them mixed and muddled together. Because of this, we have started with the basics of conversation: greetings, partings, identifying one another, forming questions, etc., etc. It is fortunate Whisker's current growth, number 19, I believe, has developed a mostly accurate human mouth stimulation. Hello was a bit of a challenge in the previous growth, as it failed to develop an adequate organ to act as a human tongue. You step away from the bars and store the module card at the document table. And that's it! We taught him. I'm gonna save. Yes. Okay, so this is growing your grandpa. This will be the first week we completed, I think. Not sure. But if you liked it, leave a like, subscribe. Better subscribe or I'll find you. Bastards. I'll find where you live if you do not subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Yeah. Bye.